In headline news today from the Wall Street Journal, President Trump urges a US takeover of Gaza expected to go for 10 to 15 years, redeveloping the territory. In other news, Beijing retaliates with tariffs of its own. The 10% tariffs are to take effect on February the 10th. In other news, Google revenue growth slows in the cloud unit. And shares of parent of Google, Alphabet, were down 8 hours in after-hours trading, basically wiping out this year's gains. In other news, from 2022 to 2024, the US annual job quits number is descending. This means that people are staying with their existing jobs for longer. It's getting harder to hop between jobs, as it was easier from 2020 21 up to 22. Elon Musk has been making waves in US government, and President Trump has said Elon can't do and won't do anything without our approval. In other news, how China shock upended US workers. China has become the factory of the world. We can see that when looking between China and Japan in terms of imports annually into the US, around 2000 Japan's imports were greater than China's. And look at China's imports now into the US. This makes tariffs on China and China's retaliatory actions incredibly tricky for the US economy. President Trump said that he wants to take China tariffs up to 60%. He started at 10%. China flagging its complaint with the WTO or the World Trade Organization is seen as mostly symbolic. China is also growing as a result of its net trade, so the tariffs will impact all countries. The US Postal Service has said it will stop accepting parcels from China and Hong Kong. This is effectively closing a loophole which allowed companies to avoid paying tariffs if they ship packages worth less than $800 directly to US consumers. About 1.36 billion shipments entered the US using this provision in 2024. In other news today, El Salvador's president has said we'll take the US's worst criminals, including members of the MS-13 and Trendy Aragua gangs. I hope I said that correctly. The US has begun flying migrants to Guantanamo Bay. In economic news, unemployment remains modest and the economy is still creating jobs. Layoffs are limited. There are now just 1.1 job openings per unemployed worker, down from a high of 2 in March 2022. Remember, the Fed always talks about this number. In other news, Kiev is open to exchanging rare earths for US aid. In business and finance, Estee Lauder cuts up to 7,000 jobs. Hi everyone, I'm Ken from CryptoTradingKS and the CTKS method. If you're new, a very warm welcome and welcome back CTKS family. My goal is to assist you in becoming more of a financial and emotional blessing to yourself and those you love through positive excellence. If you like the content, please smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. We have one of the best communities on YouTube. We look forward to welcoming you into our global family. There are a lot of free resources on CTKSmethod.org. The link is in the description of this video. Let's see where the markets are going in the next 24 hours. And let's run the numbers. I would like to thank all the people who've reached out to me on LinkedIn, and the link to contact me directly is just in the link in the description of this video. It's so fantastic to see everybody there. And if you're new to LinkedIn, you can go into editing the About section of your profile page, and if you've done level 1 and level 2 standard certification or the profiting course or the service or the masterclass, you can pop those right in there. If you're liking the content so far, please smash that like button. And if you go across to CTKSmethod.org, you can pick up this free watch list. This goes through all the rows of the cheat sheet and the service gives you the structural levels of the rows. When we look at row 1, what we're seeing is risk on behavior. As these things go negative, the markets tend to move up. We look for confirmation in row 2. We're seeing green across the board. This is good for the markets. This is a recovery or a bit of a leg up at the current time. The indices are coming up with the exception of the Nasdaq, but it's pretty muted. That means it's not really much of momentum. When looking at reference 3, we're looking at the index futures here, and we can see they're largely positive across the board. This should translate into upward price momentum in the major indices around the world. Looking at row 4, Apple and Tesla got hit, MicroStrategy has come down. Nvidia had a bit of a bounce and Microsoft pretty much flat. In terms of crypto, total crypto market cap came down and Bitcoin came down. Ethereum staged a little bit of a bump up, and we can see that there are flows into the stablecoins at the current time. And looking at row 6, we can see that Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum Classic are coming up. When we looked at the liquidations just now, we've seen in the past hour the shorts are getting whacked. It's pretty interesting. We basically start off where the news finishes. So you need to know the news and you need to put it in context, but always take it as a starting point. In row 7, ADA is coming up, Solana, Doge, XRP have been hit. On the heat map, XRP was hit quite substantially and Solana was hit also substantially. There's a bit of a difference between this cheat sheet and the heat maps, and this is quite common. You'll see these things playing out. And when we look at the memes are slightly negative. The memes typically give us a bit of a risk on or risk off indicator, and Trump is going up. One of the things that we need to look at are the row 1 references. When we see this all going red, it is a good sign for positive price momentum within the next 24 hours. But this is a widely fluctuating market. Just keep your eyes on the structural levels. This is Bitcoin on the 3-day basis, and we can see that across from November of last year, Bitcoin was coming up, fairly accurately measuring off the directional movements of the 2016 cycle. We've seen a bit of a divergence here because President Trump is going to town on tariffs. Now it looks like the opening salvo is starting to lose negative momentum. It is very early days, but you just want to keep your eyes on the stats. When a member of the global CTKS family looks into a chart, they do it with institutional X-ray vision. They know that price is always moving in a wave. And we already have the resistance lines and the support lines. All we need to do is to understand where the momentum is inside the market. And in yesterday's video, we were getting a structural overshoot of the 96,493 mark, which promptly reversed up to the 98,384. We've not managed to get above that 98,384 and stay there. And we've been just pretty much literally range bound over the past 24 hours. Institutional traders and investors understand the price is always moving in a wave. It's always coming up and down, up and down. We just need to get the direction and the momentum. If we think about what's happening inside the economic system, there's a lot going on. And that's why I wanted to read through the news with you just very, very quickly. The tariffs are a thing, and they're going to add a lot of forward volatility into the markets. At the current time, we've got positive price pressure, which could see us overcoming the 98,384 and potentially getting above 99,534. You must keep your eyes on the structural levels and just let price play out. If we start to, that's the bullish case scenario. The bearish case scenario is that we lose the 96,493 and just come down and consolidate between 93,432 and 94,574. Even though the markets have been consolidating, this blue line is Bitcoin's directional momentum, and the white line is Bitcoin's percentage change. We can see as Bitcoin came up, the alts came up. As Bitcoin came down, the alts came down. This seesawing game is what we would anticipate and what we expect. This is a rule of the crypto market, and you won't find it in the mainstream media news. The upper bank currently is Trump Litecoin with SHIB and Ethereum. The lower bank is XRP, Solana, Doge, and BNB. Just a quick update on X and Twitter. I recently changed my banner and my description, and guess what? I got suspended for doing so. AI definitely makes everybody's life better. Sarcasm. But don't forget, if you want to reach out and contact me, you can contact me on LinkedIn. X needs to look after its people a lot better. I've been on X for so many years and made over 15,000 posts. Very, very disappointing. The moral of the story is, hey guys, don't change your profile picture. If you change this and this, you might get deleted by AI. Wonderful. Oh, and by the way, I reached out to support and I've tried to reinstate my account. It's been about 11 days now, and crickets. I haven't had one response from them. I guess there's no one there. It's all bots now. I never had any trouble with LinkedIn, and so that's where I am currently. So if you want to reach out and directly message me or just hook in as a first level connection, please visit me on that link, and it's the link inside the description of this video as well. And to everybody who's come across, you are awesome. One thing to keep in mind, total crypto market cap and Bitcoin work together. If total crypto market cap is coming up and hits resistance, that will impact Bitcoin as well. So what we need to understand is this all open air. When people who are new to financial markets and especially technical analysis look at a chart, they just think if it's there, if it's coming down, it's going to zero. If it's coming up, it's going to infinity. It's basically a support and resistance issue at all times. Now, how do we figure out the most statistically significant support and resistance levels? It comes through level 1 and level 2 standard certification. Now, let's just pop on the monthly service indicator to see where the support and resistance actually are. Was there support here? No. Was there resistance here? No. It was up further and up further. This is the difference between looking at a chart from a retail perspective and looking at it from an institutional one. We can see currently that prices are recovering. We're up to 3.15 trillion, but we've got all of this structural overhead resistance that's been a bit of a headache. We may have one of two things playing out. If we come down from here and we violate this area, and especially this area, we've got an underside retest and we would expect more negative downside momentum. If we get above here and do something like this, the crypto market will in all likelihood go for it. Yeah, it's a technical term. The thing to note when looking back on Bitcoin is that we're just seeing that in total crypto market cap terms, we're coming up to a level of structural overhead resistance. People don't look at charts the way we look at charts. We look at charts from a very sophisticated institutional perspective. We are not retail. Retail, unfortunately, gets slaughtered in financial markets. You don't want to be retail. You don't want to get emotional. You want to get scientific. You notice that we went through all the news first, and that's pretty much where everybody stops. But where people stop is where we start. At the start of the video, you would have seen me going through so many different things, the heat map of the stock market, the sectors of the stock market, fear and greed of the stock market, and then doing the same thing with the crypto market. This is not filling in time. This is showing you exactly what the different sectors are doing, exactly what the markets are doing, so you can prepare to understand either upward volatility or downward. Because we already have the structure, we already know where support is, where resistance levels are. We are already ahead of 99% of people inside markets. All we need to do is to figure out if a support level gets held or it gets broken, or if a resistance level is too strong and it just stops price going above it because there's other further selling area above. Price is always moving in a wave, and if we just listen to the mainstream media news, we would just absolutely get out of markets when we need to get in, and vice versa. This is exactly what retail does. It doesn't mean the news is bad. The news is important. You have to look at it, but you have to make your decision structurally and from a momentum perspective. What I do when I look at Bitcoin from this, I'm looking at total crypto market cap, I'm looking at all the major indices, I'm looking at the futures, I'm looking at Forex by looking at this chart. In other words, I look through Bitcoin's chart. If this institutional grade thinking is of interest to you, reach out to me on LinkedIn. Please directly message me because I'll be offering partial scholarships to the Profiting from CTKS Method course. This structural course is unbelievably strong. It's all about the rubber hitting the road. It's when you sit down to trade and invest, what you need to do, how you need to think. I give you a lot of different templates that you can use to save your time. And then we get into how you actually read the cheat sheet components, how you understand the tops and the bottoms in a wide variety of things, cheat sheet components, which will make the difference. You already know the support and resistance levels through the indicators from the service. But what you need to do is to get your mindset correct and understand how each component of the cheat sheet works. It will make you a fortune. And then inside week 3, you look over my shoulder as I take you through trades that are done recently. Even though I was working on this for 12 months, it was a labor of love. I made sure that you had the most recent examples that you could get, and all the trades were made going long at spot in a negative price momentum environment. Now, why did I do that? I needed to show you how you can make effectively, well, you could make millions of dollars of profit in a downward market, in an uncertain market, because I know 2025 and beyond are going to be very uncertain. This is a skill you must have. A lot of people stop at the making money part, but you've got to keep it. And so in week 4, I train your mindset to a very different level in order that you can keep what you make. It is a very extensive course and on par with the masterclass. So please reach out to me directly if you are interested in a partial scholarship to the Profiting from CTKS Method structure course. I look forward to hearing from you. I would also suggest that if you're interested in learning the CTKS method, you should start with the Profiting course first and foremost. It is the way that you can see how much money you can make, irregardless of where the market is going. And also understand that ignorance is very, very expensive. If you want to stop something cracking with a tape like this, that's kind of not going to work. Investing in your education is incredibly important. Have a great day or night ahead, my friends, and Kate and I look forward to catching up with you again in the next video. And I thought a good thing to talk about in the comments today was education. How important is it? How does your profit depend on what you know and your experience of putting what you know into practice? I'm very much looking forward to your comments. And thank you to everybody who comments. You're just awesome. Bye for now.